Hey guys, how's it going? Go Search here today, and today we're going to be waterproofing the connectors for these headlights. So biggest problem and complaint I have when you switch to LED headlights with the Jeep is the connectors are so bad. I've had it happen on 3 or 4 Jeeps now where the connectors just rot out, and then you have to either cut the connectors completely off and solder them straight, or you can try bullets, but this is the best way I have found, and this is great for light bars as well. That's why I'm showing this. Also, I'm going to take light bars. If you have light bars like so on the front end, it's a good idea to put a quick disconnect on them, especially for if you're doing other things like this. I put little pod lights on here, and I put quick disconnects on these as well, so that way if in an emergency I have to remove my spare tire, I can just disconnect them to remove the 2 lights, which are attached, by the way, with that. There's a whole video on that. I'm not going to go into it. So, what do you need, and what are some part numbers? Need some 4-way Deutsch connectors, as you can see. And as you can see, you could do 3 ways. I always get the 4 ways for headlights. They're usually cheaper than a 3-way, believe it or not, because they're just so commonly used. So that's why I picked these up. And they were also available locally. Unless I want to start crimping my own Deutsch connectors, which this is the same amount pretty much as building them for me anyway. I might save a couple dollars, but either way, not worth it when you can just solder these on, throw a little bit of heat shrink on, and it's a waterproof connector. There's also a 2-way available for if you are doing just 2-way, and all it is, instead of 4 holes, you have 2 holes, connectors slightly thinner. So let's go ahead and do this. At this point, if you need to access the headlight, go here. These are cheap, by the way. Highly suggest you get them. They come with body panel popping tools and less chance of breaking clips all the time. Go ahead, pop them all out. Some of them might stick like that. Not a big deal. You can just lift them a little bit. They'll come out. Oh, perfect. Put these like this on the side, and I'll show you a trick. Just lift, and they'll come out. And then from there, you can pop this forward, just like that. If you have a winch like me, it could be fun to pop, just like that. After you've popped those all out, you'll have these after you've popped it away from the grill. Down below, there's a safety, so you have to feel for it and then slide it towards away from the vehicle. After you slide it away, like that, you'll hear a solid click, and you can click and release. Now I want to quickly show you here what that looks like. It's the little red one. Slide it back, pop out. The next thing, T15 Torx, take out the 4 screws right here. And then be careful. After you get about 2 of them out, start putting a hand right here. When you loosen the last 2, you don't want this to fall out and smash, especially if they're glass. So this is going to be the most important part and step of this entire procedure. As you can see, we have these 3 wires that line up here and where they go to on here on that connector. So we're going to do these wires one at a time. And what we're going to do is line up our plugs and make sure we solder the yellow onto the same spot where the yellow is supposed to be on this connector, and so on and so forth. Now, another advantage if we're doing this is when you're taking a look, you'll also have this, which is your halo light. So when we cut this off, you can also add your halo onto that 4th wire and then add it to your parking lights. And you can do the DRL delete if you want, so that way your parking lights can only fire up your halo if you want. And believe it or not, this is how easy it is. If you do that, you just have to solder on a piece onto here, and we'd have to see which wire. I've already actually gone off this before, so maybe we'll go off that parking light, and I'll show you that today as well. But let's start this first. I'm going to do the yellow wire first. So this white-red wire, we're going to choose a plug on here, and I will show you after I choose one. This one right here I'm going to make yellow, and that one right there I'm going to make yellow on the opposite side. So first thing I'm going to do is go to where the yellow wire is. Yellow goes to white and with a red stripe. So I'm going to cut that, and then I'm going to solder that onto here. Another thing I've decided to do is, as you can see, I'm putting yellow heat shrink. Why? Because then I know which one was yellow, and that way if for some reason I mess up or anything, I know exactly what color went into that plug for future use. Once we've tinned our wire like so, what I will tell you to do is give it a couple seconds before sliding the heat shrink up. If you do it right away, that joint will still be nice and hot and will automatically bond your shrink tubing a lot of times as you try to slide it over the joint. It'll drive you insane. So leave that to cool. You could either do two things at this point. Just move on to the next wire, which would be this one for me. I'll make this my red wire, which will be this black wire right here. Actually, the black with a green stripe. So I'll cut that and then I'll strip that one. This white brown wire, which is the center one, is your parking light wire. So if you want, you can solder on your fourth connector onto there. Now, if you've never soldered before, I should have mentioned this before. What you do is make sure that you take the tip of the pencil like so, and you can see mine's still on, so I can't really show you, but on the bare metal, you hold the tip against it. Do not poke the solder into the tip. What you do is you wait for that wire to heat up, then poke the wire with the tip of your solder, and it will slowly absorb the metal. After it does so, and you think you've got enough on there, do not go too much. Too much is gonna cause resistance. So what you do is you just poke it after you get a certain amount on there. You can just stop, just make sure you don't have a ball on there. Make sure you can still see those indentations of the wire. It's just nice and silver. And then after it's cooled down, slip your heat shrink up, take your lighter and just run it back and forth like this, nice and quick. This one I did years ago. This is not some of my finest work. You can see the solder joint is old. I might heat this up and replace this wire anyway, so it's a bit longer. But as you can see, what I did is I stripped the sheath back without cutting the wire and then did a T-solder, where you just basically wrap your wire around, solder, and then you can slide, or you'll just tape that one because you won't be able to get heat shrink around there. Soldered it in here, put it back in the casing, put a couple bands of tape. You could tape all the way up if you wanted to really hold that wire. And then comes up over here, I taped it up with the headlight connector, and this is my solder joint. See how it's silver all the way around? And you can still see the lines of the wire, but there's enough solder in there to hold it. That's kind of what you want. And then from there, you would just slide this bad boy up, separate it from the rest of the wires, and hit it with your lighter going back and forth. So I decided to pull out my voltmeter because something I just told myself, you know what, because those are off color, I have to check. And I put it on, as you can see the sound mode, and what that does is if there's a continuity touch, then I can check which is which. And so I plugged half the connector in, put one end here, put one end on this side of the wire. Guess what? The blue is actually the ground, which is the black, and the black is actually the red. So that is why I must always check. So as you can see, the black wire right here, we need to make sure that that goes to the black wire that we soldered onto that side. I wanted to make sure I could show you guys this very easily. So as I said, continuity. I've shoved one probe into the yellow bladed connector, and I want to make sure it goes to the, I need to figure out which one goes to the yellow wire. So let's try the yellow first. See that? It works. That's how I found that out. Just so you know, I thought my other description might have been a little bit confusing, so I wanted to show you that. What I would suggest you do is after you get this headlight wired up, go to your other headlight and wire it the exact same way so both are done. It'll also help so you can convert this connector the exact same colorway on that side without having to look back and forth. You could take a picture, but that's one thing. Let's go ahead and test. So I'm gonna turn. As you can see, that's parking lights. That's on. Parking lights. On. High beam. Low beam. Parking lights. Off. And that's the only reason why that parking light one is working is because I've got the halo on that one. When you finish this harness up, you can do these little zap ties, zap straps, zip ties, whatever you want to call them. And you can go ahead and do this. and this just keeps the wires together. You could also use electrical tape if you don't want to, because these can get caught. I will leave it up to you. Now, you might say, Rich, why would you've left this much wire here? Because I trimmed this side, but not this side. It's because this is the vehicle side, and I'll never have to cut it. This will stay the way it is. This side, though, this side, every time I review headlights or something, if I don't buy more connectors, then I have to chop these a little bit, and it gives me more time with the connector. I can of course heat up the solder joint, pull them back, but sometimes I like to make a fresh cut, and I will just zap strap the extra behind the headlight. I will leave it up to you. You can go with a shorter length and literally bring that up to there, and it will be fine. I just wanted a little bit extra. So go copy this to the other side. Different wire colors. So when you come over here, just remember, follow where they plug in. This one you can see yellow goes to the blue-white, or the white-blue. The more dominant color is those first, and then of course you've got the red down the center, and then the ground off to the side. If you're looking at the headlight like so, you'll see those two have the farthest part in between them, so they go down below, and you'll see that little nub. See that nub right by the silver tab? That nub slides into there. That tells you that you've got it aligned properly. So go ahead and throw your screws in there. When putting your grill back on, make sure that that fully seats, and then slide that red clip back in to the connector towards this way. That way it's fully safety locked. When sliding the grill back in, make sure that center line's back in the center down there. Might be hard to see, but you'll see that there's a center pin and it lines up right there, and then pop in all your tabs. After you've gone ahead and made sure that everything's working, you got your marker, you got your headlights on both sides, you've gone through all again, you're ready to go. I've already sealed these clips up. As you know, you put the center in, squished it in, and that's it. I didn't show you that because that's probably the simplest part of the whole thing. So go ahead, start up your vehicle and go have some fun. Thanks again for watching. Press like if it helped you out, and subscribe for more.